All right, scholars, so we are at the review portion of this lesson, and we are going to review a couple of problems that you have to do on your own. If you're looking at my screen right now, this was one of your questions. Not that. All right, and the question says, what is the shape of the equal parts in this partition parallelogram? Can you please say parallelogram? Awesome. Now, I have to identify the shape of each equal part. I know the name of the whole is what? Go back to the question. The name of this whole is parallelogram. But I need to identify what each of these parts is called. What is the shape of each of these parts? Now I know that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And I also know that the fraction for each part is 1/4. But now I need to describe the shape of each part. So I'm going to type that in now, and I hope that you have the same answer as me. So the name for each part of this whole is triangle, right? These 4 parts are all in the shape of a triangle. Now, your choices were triangle, square, and circle. So hopefully you chose triangle for that problem because each of these 4 parts is in the shape of a triangle. Now, this next shape I want to show you, you did not have to do any work for this shape, but I think it's very important to discuss it. So, does anyone know what this shape is called here? I hope you said hexagon. Everyone say hexagon. Okay. Now, looking closely at this hexagon, I see 1, 2, 3 equal parts. And the fraction for each part is 1/3. But now I also want to identify the name of each shape for each part. The name of each shape for each part. It looks like my 3 parts are not only equal, but they're also the same shape. And if it helps, I'm going to shade in these dotted lines a little bit here so that we know exactly what we're looking at. Maybe that makes it a little more clearer. Okay, so I have 3 equal parts. Each part is 1/3 of the whole hexagon. And now I need to name each of those parts. Does anyone know what the name of this shape is? In fact, make it even clearer, I'm going to shade in one of the parts so that we are just identifying the name of this shape. Okay. Now, the name of that shape is diamond, right? So this is one of those pet peeves for Miss Knight. There is no shape called a diamond. A diamond is a stone or a jewel, like people wear when they wear jewelry, it may have diamonds in it, right? So a diamond is not a shape, and it is really important to me that you remember that. Instead, we call this shape a, whoa, fancy looking word there. Hopefully you have said it and read it before. We call that shape a rhombus. please say rhombus. All right, so the name of each part of this whole hexagon is rhombus. So I have 1/3 shaded in this hexagon. I have 1/3 shaded, and the name of the shape I created when I partitioned this hexagon is rhombus. Can you say rhombus for me one more time? Excellent. So that's just important for you to remember from Miss Knight. All right, and then we are going to do one more review problem. So you also had this problem on your paper. Using your paper and or on your review questions. Using your paper and pencil, write the fraction for the shaded part of each rectangle. Type in your fractions below. So there should be 3 different fractions that you typed in for this question. Now, looking at all 3 rectangles, how many parts is each rectangle partitioned into? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So Miss Knight believes in working smarter and not harder. So here's what I'm going to do. Draw my, I want to switch back to black. I'm sure that'll be easier to see. Black. So I'm going to go ahead and underneath here, because I can't type it in like you should have been able to. I'm just going to draw 3 fraction lines, 1 under each hole. Boom, bam, pow. So now I have 3 fraction lines. Each of these holes was partitioned into 3 parts. So I know my total number of parts is 3. So I'm going to go ahead and write 3 at the bottom of each fraction line, because I know that that number will not change. The hole has not changed, so my total number of parts will not change either. Now, if I'm looking at just hole A or rectangle A, I see that I only have 1 part shaded in. So the fraction for that part is 1. So I would read this as rectangle A has 1/3 of the hole shaded in. Now let's look at rectangle B. You should notice a pattern here. This time I have 2 parts shaded in. So my top number is 2. And I could read that as 2/3 of the whole is shaded in. Then finally, on rectangle C, I see I have 1, 2, 3 parts all shaded in. So for my top number, I will put 3. Now, when you were typing in the fractions for each of these holes, you should have typed in 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. But I want to pay a little bit closer attention to this fraction right here. If you remember from the teacher motto of this lesson, then when we have the same number on the top and the same number on the bottom of the fraction line, then that means we have one what? You guessed it, 1 whole. Now I'm going to type that in right here. Not only do I have 3/3, but I have 1 whole. Can't see it Miss Knight. I'll just place it right there. So we either can call this 3/3 or we can call this 1 whole. All right, scholars, I hope that if you had any trouble with any of those problems, that helped cleared it up for you. If you need to review this again, go ahead, because next is your exit ticket and I really want you to rock it out. So I will see you in the next video for our quiz. Talk to you later.